Welcome to Stella Roos Table, the podcast dedicated to life and everything that comes with it. Come on in and have a seat, grab your beverage of choice, and let's sit down at this table and have a chat. All righty, everybody. So now it is time for us to get started on our podcast. As we always say, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, whatever time of day it is where you are. You have tuned in to Stella Roos Table, and this is the podcast that is dedicated to life and everything that comes along with it. My name is Kimberly Brown, and I am unapologetically myself because I don't know how to be anybody else. So this morning, I have a very special guest that's going to kick off my Woman Talk series. This is just women talking, women of a certain age talking about different subjects that, are close to us and important to us. And I have a special guest this morning. And if you have heard any of my podcasts, you hear me talk about Miss Yanni all the time. And so I have Miss Yanni on, who is going to introduce herself and tell us what she does and tell us basically, like I said, just what she does. And then we're going to get started. So go ahead, lady.
Well, good morning. Welcome. I am Yanni, and my mission is to help people get healthy, one person at a time, one body at a time, from the healthcare field. And that is something that is close to my heart, close to my family. It's a personal thing, and I'm loving what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep doing it until I can't do it anymore.
I know that's right. All right. So now Miss Yanni is basically kind of my personal health coach. She don't know it, but she is in my head. Oh shoot. There it is. She's back. There she is.
Okay.
Lost her for a second, but she's back. So Miss Yanni is my basically my personal health coach. She don't know that. That's what she is in my head. And Miss Yanni sells some products called Life. And you guys know that I've been on a journey to be a better version, a healthier version of myself, to get all of my levels and stuff back to where they need to be and get some weight off. And I have been using some of her products, her Detox Tea and her Thrive, which is a cardiac health supplement, and things have been going well. I fell off for a couple weeks, but I got back on track, and I'm already seeing a difference. But we'll talk about that another day. So today, our topic is she bitter or is she tired? That's a mouthful.
I can't even. Wow. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Is she bitter or is she tired? So the reason that I chose this topic is because I have been discovering since I've been over 40, and Miss Yanni, you tell me if you've been discovering this too.
Mm-hmm.
Since I have been over 40, now closer to 50 than 40. When people find out that you are a woman of a certain age and you have a low tolerance for foolishness, they assume that you're just a bitter woman.
I promise you, I'm laughing right now to keep from crying because I cannot agree with you more. I am, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so right. And so since they assume that you're a bitter woman, they say, oh, she's just over 40 and she's mad because she's over 40. And her life is not what she thought it would be at this point. And so what they do is they just tag you as being bitter instead of understanding the method behind your madness, so to speak, and your personality. Because I'm a kind of person, I can get along with just about anybody.
Literally anyone.
Literally anybody. So if you've gotten me to a point where I don't want to be bothered with you,
something's wrong.
9 times out of 10, it's not me.
That's right. That's right. You are describing me exactly to a T.
Right. And now I'm closer to 50 now, and I have adult children and I have grandchildren. And so I've seen some stuff, dealt with some stuff. And I tell people all the time, if you knew my whole story, you'd run out of here screaming. And so But being tagged as being bitter
That
is
makes you
something
bitter.
that makes you bitter because you don't tolerate just any old thing.
Mm,
And I am an extremely patient person. I could take
mm.
pretty much anything off anybody because I don't really let a lot of stuff bother me.
Right.
Because I'm of the belief that life is way too short to be
Oh my
mad all the
goodness,
time.
yes.
And so, and so when you start telling me, oh, she just bitter, I'm looking at you like you have literally lost your mind. So tell me, Miss Yanni, what do you think about just that statement there?
I think that I completely agree with you. Things that seem to not be a big deal before, I would have been tripping. I would have been tripping, but now I let it roll off like it's water, and I it seems like the older I get, I'm like, I'm not about to stand for this. I don't have time for this noise. I need to move on. And it's like a completely different perspective now. And I promise you, the older, I just had a birthday 2 days
Mm-hmm.
ago. And I promise
Oh,
you,
well, happy
the
birthday!
older, thank you, the older I get, I'm knocking on 50's door, trust me. And the
Mm-hmm.
older I get, I'm not for it. I'm not for it. And I can't explain it. I saw it in my mom. I saw it in my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was the most patient person on the face of the planet. But as she got
Mm-hmm.
older, the patience seemed to go a little bit out the window. And I was like, what is going on? But now I see, now that I'm in those shoes, I completely see. I understand.
Right.
It
And
makes
that's
perfect sense.
right. It makes perfect sense. And then so now let's talk a little bit about the journey up to 40. Because
Mm.
see, now how long have you been married, Yanni?
Oh my goodness. We're gonna go there. We're gonna it's going on 30 years.
Oh, see, they're going on 30 years. Okay.
Hmm.
So we're gonna have two different perspectives. We're gonna help some people out today.
Okay.
So you going on 30 years and you have how many children?
3 children.
The oldest is how old?
Oh my goodness, he's 27. My son is
Okay.
27.
Okay. And the baby is how old?
My baby, she's about to be 21.
Okay. All right. So now you have you got 30 years of marriage under your belt.
Mm-hmm.
You have 3 children. Oldest,
Mm-hmm.
so you've been a mother for almost 30 years.
Yes.
Okay. So you got a 27-year-old and then your youngest one, the baby, is 20, getting ready to be 21.
Yep.
Okay. So now I've been married to my husband almost 9 years.
Okay.
But this is husband number 3.
Okay.
And see, people, I don't tell everybody all the time because the first husband, I don't count him. I was real retarded. So I was just straight. That's the only explanation I have for that is I was just straight retarded. I had a straight up lost your mind crazy moment.
Okay.
And I mean that in the sense of not retarded to say anything bad about people with
Yeah,
special
yeah,
needs.
yeah,
I mean that in the sense of I had literally lost my mind. I knew I
yeah,
shouldn't marry that fool.
yeah.
And we were married almost 3 years, but I think we only lived in the same house about 7 months.
Stop it. Okay.
So that's why I don't count him.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm on husband number 3,
Mm-hmm.
and I was married to my last husband 10 years,
Wow.
and married to this one almost 9, and I ain't going nowhere because if he leave, I ask him where we going.
Yeah.
If he say I'm leaving, I said, well, where we going?
Where we about to go? Where are we gonna go? Okay.
Okay, because God gave me the right one. I let God pick this one. So,
Okay.
so
See,
now
that was the first problem right there.
that was the first problem. Now I have 5 children between me and him, but I have 3 biological children.
Mm-hmm.
So my oldest one just turned 32.
Okay.
My baby will be 28 this summer.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so now you would think that we know a little something, right?
That's right. That's right. You would think.
You would think that with all of that experience,
Mm-hmm.
that we know a little something.
That's
Some
right.
experiences were good, some experiences were bad,
Mm-hmm.
and some were we perfect? Nope.
Absolutely not. Definitely not.
Did we make mistakes along the way?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Still making them.
I'm still making them. However, you would think that we know some things.
Mm-hmm.
So now the journey up to 40, for me, now I'm gonna let you tell me how yours went.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For me, the best way that I can describe it is that I was on a roller coaster in the middle of a tornado
Oh Lord.
with Dorothy and Toto flying around me, and didn't nobody have a wand to save me from it.
I
That's the
love that
best.
explanation.
That's the best way I can explain it. I had the rainbow at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the beautiful scenery, thinking that, the Munchkins and all of them was here to save me, and I saw Emerald City and everything else. But the yellow brick road turned to real brick.
Oh Lordy.
So
Mm-mm.
this was a serious journey going up to 40, because I was a extremely young mother.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I wasn't married to any of my children's fathers. I'm not ashamed to tell people that my 3 babies have 3 different fathers.
Tell it.
However,
Tell your story. That's right.
I was in a relationship with each one of these people.
Okay.
These weren't fly by nights,
Right.
I was in a relationship with each one of these people. When I was growing up in the world, I equated sex for love.
Mm.
So if a young man told me that I was beautiful
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted to have sex with me, I understood where that was coming from later on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, and he wanted to have sex with me, I thought, oh, he just loves me so much.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I ended up in trouble.
Yeah.
Because
Meanwhile, his perspective is completely different.
here I am pregnant, getting ready to have a baby, and he ain't thinking about me.
Mm.
And so, I made those mistakes. Wouldn't trade my children for the world.
Yeah.
But had I really thought about it, they would not have been born when they were born.
Right.
And so I equated that, and with okay, he loves me because he wants to have sex with me.
Mm-hmm.
It took some time for me to realize that sex with a man didn't mean love.
Right.
It took some time for me to understand that just because he showed me some kind of attention or affection did not really mean that he really wanted to be with me and really wanted to build a life with me.
Right.
I wanted to be in love and in relationship and marriage with everybody that I dated. Because I've always been the kind of young woman that I could only date one at a time. I couldn't do 2 or 3.
Right.
Like some people, because the dating world these days is
Ooh.
it is completely foreign to me.
Yeah.
But I had to, like I said, with me, every time I met somebody and he showed me some interest and we dated for a little bit, I already planned the wedding in my head.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But see, it took living and wisdom, gaining wisdom.
That's it.
To learn that was not the case.
Mm-hmm.
It took me getting almost 40. I think I was in my 30s before I really got it. To understand that women have sex and we're emotional.
That's right.
So everything that we do with our emotions.
Yep. Lead with our heart. Yep.
But men, everything is physical.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a minute for me to understand that just because he's looking at your pretty brown eyes and telling you how beautiful you are, does not mean he wants to build a life with you.
Exactly. It's a completely different perspective.
Right. It's completely different. And so my journey up to 40 was if it had not, I can be honest and say this, if it had not been for my children, I think I would have lost my mind. Because my children showed me what unconditional love was. Because we struggled. We had a hard time because I was a single mom. And I, even though I was married, I really was a single mom because these were his children.
I get that.
And and because these weren't his children, he didn't feel the need to really do what needs to be done as
Yeah.
far as a parent is concerned.
Yeah.
And I was single for a long time before I married the one I was married to for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I raised those babies by myself.
Wow.
And when I was raising them, we struggled. We had a hard time. We had financial issues.
Mm-hmm.
But my children still said, Mama, we love you. You're doing fine.
Aww.
You know? And so when they said, Mom, you're doing fine. Don't worry. I said, oh, well, okay. You know? And so it, like I said, it took some time for me to really, really understand what unconditional love was.
That's right.
And so my journey was not like everybody else's journey. That's what I say. Because in my journey, it was, I had smooth times, but the rocky roads outweighed the smooth. But had it not been for my children and the love of my children and the love I had for them, I think I probably would have slid off the roller coaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And because of them, I gained a lot of wisdom because I didn't want my daughters, because I got 2 girls and a boy.
Right.
And I didn't want my daughters to see the world the way I saw it when I was their age.
So important. Yeah.
You know, I wanted them to have value within themselves and understand that they were worthy of true love, you know. And then I wanted my son to learn to treat women with respect.
Right.
And with love and with, you know, kindness, and not just do them any kind of way. Now, he didn't get the hint, trust me. Because he's cute and he know it. So up until he met his current wife, Lord Jesus.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And I'd be somewhere in the corner rocking, going, Lord, where did I go wrong?
What could I have done different?
I'm talking about completely different from the other two, man. But that was my journey up to 40. So it took some time to gain that wisdom, to understand how the world truly worked. Because see, when you had your children at a young age, you 16, 17, 18 years old having babies, you don't know nothing.
That's right. You think you do.
You think you do, but you don't. And then you got you raising your baby, so you really think you grown now because you a mama.
That's right. Can't nobody tell you nothing. I understand.
So now, what was your journey up to 40 like?
Mine was so similar. Like I just mentioned, nobody could tell me anything. I knew in my mind, I knew all I needed to know, and everything that you heard adults talking about, you're thinking, why are you telling me this? What are you talking about? You know, that was my thinking at that time. And when I met my husband, we were very young. Well, we were like in junior high and middle school. And I thought the world revolved around him, and you know, he could do no wrong, all that good stuff. And I still feel that way now. But my perspective is so different. I'm seeing it now. I find myself on the other side trying to, whether it's my children or my nieces, or, you know, I'm now that adult telling them, you know, this is what you need to do. And I'm quickly realizing, wait a minute, whoa, they're not going to listen to me. They need to experience it for themselves. And that's literally what I had to do. And seeing it from a different perspective now, I wish I could go back and say to my younger self, you know, this is what's going to happen. So why don't you make things a little bit easier for yourself? You know, just having that vision is invaluable, I think. But my journey leading up to my 40s, it wasn't a struggle in that I wouldn't do it again, because I definitely would. But my thing is, I just wish that I had listened more to my adults that were in my life, my parents and my aunties, and I just wish that I had listened more, because I made it more difficult than it had to be. I always used to tell, whether it was, you know, when we were growing up in the church, or as I got into my young adulthood, we lived in California, and I would literally go to the top of what I thought was a mountain, but it was nothing but high elevation with a winding road leading up to it, and it seemed like going up that road. I'm on this journey, literally and figuratively. Literally and figuratively, I feel like I was on a journey, and I would go up there just to be by myself and have, my own thoughts and try to get in my head and try to figure life out. And little did I know that going up that mountain, going up the side of that mountain, I got all of this. I felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders. I would get up there and, whether I'm listening to music or studying in the word or writing in my journal, whatever it is, I'm doing it up there. When I come down, after I've been up there for, I don't know, some time, when I come back down, heading back to reality, everything everything that I thought I was getting away from is still there. The only thing that had changed was my perspective, and that's how I feel in terms of my life journey leading up to 40.
You're right.
Whatever was going on is still going on. Only thing that has changed is me.
Right. Exactly.
I have changed. And so leading up to 40, it was I I felt like I was in an alternative world sometimes, and now I'm like, wait a minute, what? Now, when you look back, you're thinking, what in the world? What was I thinking? What did I do that for? And it's so difficult to try to put yourself in a different mindset, because now that you are older, and saw everything that you went through and questioning yourself. And so, yeah, my journey was similar to yours in that, it was a whirlwind at times, and roller coaster is a perfect word to describe it, because there was high highs and low lows.
Right.
But again, the only thing that changed was me. I changed and was able to come out on the other side a better person, I believe.
Right. And that's how I feel. I feel like all of my ups and downs through my life, from the time my son was born, because he was my first, from the moment he was born, and that was January 20th, 1987, at 11:57 p.m.
Wow.
He was born 3 minutes before midnight.
Wow.
And I really feel like as young as I was, because I was a teenager. I was, trust me when I say I was barely a teenager. I was a teenager. And I turned 16 a few months after he was born.
Okay.
So I feel like from that moment to now, everything that happened in my life, starting from that moment, made me who I am now. Because even with all the low lows, we had some highs, and then we had some low lows. And it didn't feel like anything was ever leveled. And we was up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And with everything that happened, with all the good, the bad, the ugly, the heartbreak, the pain, everything, I truly feel like that really made me a better person.
Absolutely.
And it made me who I am now, because I can look back on that and really appreciate where God has taken me. And I can really appreciate even with my husband, he drives me up a wall sometimes, but I love him to death. But I can really appreciate who he is because of all of those people, those relationships I was in that did me wrong or mistreated me. And, and because of all of the turmoil I went through in those relationships, I could really appreciate who he is. And people ask me all the time, how do you stay with that man? Because he loud, which he is. He's loud, and he can be, he's really, he seems aggressive. He can be.
Yeah.
But he's really, once you get to know him, you'll really figure out he really is a marshmallow inside,
Not marshmallow.
and it's just, yeah, it's covered up by all of this bear. And he's don't get me wrong, he's a strong man. He's very He's outspoken, but when he's
Mm.
talking to you, he's telling you the truth. He's saying what he's saying out of love, because he really wants to see people do well. But when you get to know him, you really get to know who he is, and get past,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Midwest. That's what I call it. You get past the Midwest
Okay.
because he's from Michigan. So you get past that Midwest and
Okay.
you really see him. And I can really, really appreciate him for who he is because of what I went through. I've learned to really make good moments and
That's
make
right.
real friends, as opposed to people that are just acquaintances in your life. I've learned how to really, because like I said, I can
Yeah.
get along with just about everybody. I smile all the time and this, that, and the other, but I've really learned who I can pick out and say, that's my friend, and because of all of those things that I've gone through, even to the point where, when you and I first started talking, and I said, I've been telling you about her, my friend Yanni. He said, wait a minute. He said, who is that? And I said, Johnny, I've been talking to you about her. He said, have I met her? I said, I ain't met her either. I told him, I haven't met her yet. He said, wait a minute. Now, you've been talking to home, but you haven't. I said, don't try to understand it. Just know she's my friend.
That is so funny.
But see, you learn how to, kind of get through it with your experiences.
That's right.
You learn in life how to maneuver and really kind of make the puzzle pieces fit. Because of the experiences that you've gone through. And that's what people don't understand. When you are leading up to 40, especially when you get in your 30s as a woman, it's almost like a light bulb goes on. And you say, hey, I got to try to figure some stuff out here. I can't keep going like this. And then, like you say, you go up to that mountain, you gather your thoughts, and then you come down, and everything that was going on was still going on. But your perspective and the way you look at it is different. I made a statement, and I'm gonna tell you, girl, and this is something that was I was talking to my husband about this a couple of days ago. I have a friend of mine that used to call me Positive Patty. And she said, you just Positive Patty, and you make you try to find the good in everything. You try to just be nice to everybody and try to find a diplomatic way. I ain't got time for that. You just Positive Patty. And then my best friend said to me, well, that's how you are. You always trying to make everything, better and smile about it, and, all kind of hell breaking loose and this, that, and the other. And at first, I was like, whatever. But then I got mad. I got real mad because I said, hold on. How dare you? Attack me because I have a positive attitude. What's wrong with that? And I mean, I got hot. I was telling these ladies who are good friends of mine, by the way. I was like, how dare you call me Positive Patty? And because I took offense.
Wow.
Because y'all got the nerve to be mad because I try to diffuse situations and find a positive way to handle it. Are you serious?
Wow.
That's that. I mean, like when I say I was hot,
literally took offense.
I was hot.
Wow.
I literally took offense. And then I started to remember, I said, okay, when I was about, I want to say about 24, 25, I was married to a gentleman that just took me through hell and back. Like the emotional abuse, it wasn't even, the verbal abuse was there, but the emotional abuse was so drastic that I hadn't got to a point where I wanted to try to take my own life. I tell people, if somebody tell you I killed myself, you better start having somebody investigate, because I've never been to that point. But I had gotten to a point where I wanted to just get up and walk away from everything and everybody and never come back, because I was in that much turmoil. As much as I loved my children and as much as I loved my family, I just wanted to walk away, because I felt like, if I stay here, this man is going to completely break me.
Say that word.
Yeah. And I said, so I was at that point. So what I did was like you know, we didn't have no mountains in Dallas. You have been listening to part 1 of our Women Talking series, Bitter or Tired. I am so glad that you guys took a moment and stopped by and gave us a listen. Part 2 will be coming very, very soon. If you want to check us out, or if you want to talk to us or send some emails or something like that just to communicate, you can contact us at stellaruthstable@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at Ruth_table, and you can find us on Instagram at Stella Ruth's Table and on Facebook at Stella Ruth's Table. Thank you guys so much for listening. I love you, love you, love you. Make sure you live life, laugh often, eat some good food while you're doing it, and we will see you next time.